Hey friends, Graham here from therecordingrevolution.com, and today I want to show you a simple trick to get way more punch out of your drum samples. So perhaps you are using a plugin like Trigger or Sound Replacer or Drumagog or something to trigger some nice sounding drum samples to blend in alongside your kick or your snare or your toms or what have you. And you might get a better sound and it's working okay, but you might notice that the drums really don't cut through and they don't hit as hard as you thought they would. The sample sounds good, your drum track sounds good or okay, and you think together they would sound even better. And on some hits they do, and on some hits they don't. And today I want to show you the simple truth about why that's the case and how to guarantee that they punch harder and hit harder so you're maximizing the current samples you have. Here's the thing. Most of the time when I'm triggering drum samples in the past, I'm just using the plugin, and these plugins are supposed to be sample accurate, okay? But in reality, that doesn't always work that way. So take a look. I've got in red are my drum tracks on this mix, and in blue are two sample tracks, a kick sample and a snare sample. And so these have been printed. Here, let's take a look at the kick drum. And let's just I'm going to use tab to transient to just sort of move along through. And let's look and see how lined up these kicks really are. You can see from the beginning that the sample is already a smidge behind the real kick drum. But let's just move along. It's pretty close. That's much better. That's okay. That's really good. Now look here. This kick drum, the sample is basically 180 degrees. 180 degrees out of phase with the real kick drum. Hence, you're going to get some phase cancellation, which means in layman's terms, or aka Graham's terms, it's going to sound thin. It's not going to hit hard. It's not going to have punch because it's out of phase. Okay, that sounds good. That's out of phase. That would look good. That looks good, good, good. Most of these are great. That one's completely out. Great, great, great. A little behind, but still good. Not bad, not bad, not bad. Good, not bad. Moving down the line here, and you can see that eventually you run into ones that are just not lined up. And that inconsistency is killing the punch of your drum sound to the point that, honestly, look at this. Honestly, if you have some kick samples that are this far behind or off the real kick, this is making your regular kick sound worse. You would be better off without using a sample at all. No matter how cool that sample is, it's stealing by canceling out some of the fatness and the power of your real kick drum sound. So that is happening all over the place on this kick drum track, a printed, supposedly sample-locked sample. And the same is true with the snare drum. So what I want to show you and let your ears determine is how, by simply doing some tightening up of these samples, which takes no plugins, just takes a few minutes of your time, you can instantly get more punch out of your sample. So what I've done is I've gone through on a separate playlist in Pro Tools, which if you're not a Pro Tools user, it's simply a virtual track or another take underneath this track. So I've copied the kick drum and I went through, you can see all these edit marks, and I've cut only where there was a kick drum out of alignment, and I eyeballed it. I zoomed in, I just eyeballed it, kick and cut it up, slid it over, cut it up, slid it over. And there's good stretches of time where the kicks are completely lined up. They're fine. And I only moved the ones that just were sliding out, either slightly or a lot, like we showed before. And I did the same thing on the snare drum. Okay? I do this on a separate playlist so that I won't ever lose the original. And so I can A-B them, or if I just over-edit it or screwed something up, I can simply flip back to the original piece of audio in a very easy manner. So what I want to do for you is play you what these drums sound like, and then play you what they sound like completely better. Here's before. Here's after. You can tell a humongous difference When they're not lined up, some hits sound great, while other hits just sound off, and other hits just sound really hazy. And in general, hazy is kind of the word I use to describe it. It sounds okay, I guess, but you're not really sure why it's not rocking like some of the tracks you hear on the radio. In the moment I simply have the edited versions up for us to listen to, where the samples are lined up with original kick and snare, all of a sudden you have more definition. Every kick and every snare hits the way it's supposed to, hard, with clarity, which lends itself to punch. That's what when we're looking for punch, that's what our ear's looking for, definition and clarity, because the kick and the snares already sound cool. They have the punch. It's just when they're not lined up, they are canceling out their own great qualities and they're stealing their own punch. So just a little tip for you, if you use any kind of drum samples, seriously consider printing them out. It's worth the extra few minutes to print them to an audio track and then go through visually and cut and slide only the hits that are out of alignment with the original kick or the original snare or tom or whatever you're lining up, and do that on a separate playlist. It's worth the extra 30 minutes or so because you instantly have more punch and clarity and definition in your drums without needing to resort to any EQ or compression, which is not going to fix it anyway. Hope that gives you something to think about on your next mix with drums. Again, this is Graham at therecordingrevolution.com. Subscribe to the videos if you like them. If they help you, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Leave your comments below the video. Let me know how you handle drum samples and any tips or tricks you want to share to the community about your success with drum samples. And if you want my best content delivered right to your inbox, stuff that I don't post anywhere else, it's absolutely free. Join the list, the Insiders list, and get my entire Insiders kit with an ebook, video series, and a bunch of other cool stuff. You can have it in seconds. It's right there on the video or on the site. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.